to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mythic Legions Zende Amanthir from the Poxxus wave. Zende has a really cool character bio. He is a spellcaster who has come from a faraway land to bring his ancient lore to the Convocation of Basilia in order to fight the powers of Poxxus. So he's a teacher like myself, which is really appealing to me. So I actually relate very much to this figure. The head sculpt is phenomenal. I love the look of Zende. It's got a very lifelike quality to it. It's also got not a neutral expression. I know the expression is pretty unanimated, but it definitely has an expression on his face. Like he's thinking, he's casting, he's contemplating. He's definitely got kind of a mage-like quality to his expression here. And you've got that beard, which shows the age with the gray hairs there. But yeah, really great head sculpt here on Zende. It does have a wired hood that you can pull up and over his head, and you can kind of mess around with it to get it to sit a little better than I have it here. It just takes a little bit of time and fussing around with, but that looks pretty darn good. I'm very excited that they're starting to do capes that don't have the plastic top, that actually have the full-on hood attached to it. And then here's a look. I just kind of have it folded back and forth, like ruffled back and forth. So there's a lot of cape there if you kind of think about how much I have it, folded. The wire could be a little stiffer. I keep saying this. I'm going to keep saying it in every video. I wish they would go a little stiffer with the wires on their figures. But other than that, it's a great cape designed by C. Jessam. They do such an amazing job. And the fact that the factories are able to replicate that says something about the factories too. The rest of the figure is nothing crazy. Like there's not really anything new going on here. You do have the torso and skirt piece that originally came in the Alethea wave on Krotos. Then you have the same sculpted cloth arms and legs that also came from that wave on a number of figures. Same thing with the armor and the hands and the legs, all same pieces that we saw in the Alethea wave, but the color pattern is really cool. You know, you don't really get this pattern of colors in Mythic Legions that much. You've got some sort of brick reds, and you've got some mustard yellows and some brighter blues, almost denim blue down on the legs there. And then these copper metallics here on the armor pieces. So yeah, I mean, this is a really cool looking figure. I know it's not going to be for everyone because I think a lot of people are going to find it to be a little bit boring without a lot of new parts. But to me, it's a great way to have a wizard, mage, spellcaster type character on a 1.0 body that's not fully robed. It's sort of like a battle ready mage. And here he is all zoomed out so you can get a look at the overall profile of Zende Amanthir, who stands at just about 6 3/4 inches tall. And getting into size comparisons, starting off with a couple wave mates and allies. On the left is Samir Scroll Warder. He's a 2.0 body, so he's a little slimmer, a little shorter. And as you can see, his cape is very similar to Zende's cape, but the outer part of Samir's two-tone cape is a lighter blue. The inner part of that cape, I think, matches pretty well with Zende's color. And on the right, you have the Ogre Scale Arachagor, and these look amazing together. I could see this team on the battlefield with all their different strengths and weaknesses, helping, assisting. I mean, even Zende might be picking up some weapons and fighting with that armor on. And yeah, it's just like a really cool looking team of characters on that mage side of the military efforts. Also a couple wave mates, but this time enemies. On the left, we have the brute scale Kalazir the Djinn, and on the right is Poxxus himself, and he's a 1.0, so he is the same size and compatibility as Zende. Getting into some other sword and sorcery lines, on the left we have Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, and on the right is the Frazetta Girls Icons collectibles Dark Wolf figure. And then getting more into the 7-inch scale, here's a Masterverse figure and a NECA Dungeons & Dragons figure. And then for some non-sword and sorcery stuff, here's a couple Hasbro figures. On the left, we have a Marvel Legends. On the right, we have a G.I. Joe Classified. And finally, here's how he scales next to a couple Mezco figures. We have a Ninja Turtle on the left and a Gomez on the right. And getting into the accessories, he does come with a set of shoulder armor that matches up with the rest of his armor. So if you want to ditch the cape and kind of go this route, I don't really like the look of it with the cape and the armor on there. So I kind of like go one or the other, though you can put both on. And then he does have this alternate head sculpt with the powered up look to it, as if he's like in the midst of an enchantment of some sort. And he does come with a few sets of hands. He's got a pair of open gesturing spell casting type hands here, and then he does have 2 sets of gripping hands. They just have the vertical hinges on one set and the horizontal hinges on the other. And then he does come with this beautiful mage's staff. I love this thing. There's so much detail here. It's got that crystal ball at the top that's kind of like translucent blue color, and then getting in close you can just see all those details on that staff. Just a beautiful piece right here. And the final accessory is a set of 3 blue magic effects. These are the same magic effects that come in the accessory packs, but you have 3 different sizes, and there's a hole through the middle so you can kind of mess around with it, weave it through his hands and stuff. And yeah, so pretty cool to be getting magic effects in Mythic Legions now. Articulation is very much standard 1.0 Mythic Legions articulation. You have a ball joint at the head. You can get lots of good range because they use a very large ball, which I like. And then you have the arm on a hinge up here, and then it swivels all the way around. And then you do have a single jointed elbow that comes up maybe slightly past 90 degrees or just about 90 degrees. There is a twist at that elbow. There is a twist at the forearm, twist at the wrist, and a hinge on the wrist as well. These gesturing hands are horizontal hinges. And then we have a ball joint at the waist. He can crunch forward, back a little bit. If you mess with it, you can get him, back a decent amount. And cock side to side, and you can twist, of course. Swivel at the hip kicks forward and back, and then you do have a hinge at that hip, and you can go out into the splits. There is a cut at the top of the thigh so that you can twist the thigh. Single jointed knee comes out about 90 degrees. There's a twist below the knee. There's a twist at the ankle, it can spin all the way around, and then you do have a hinge. It can point down and up, and then you do have a pivot there for nice wide stances. And for some swaps, here's just a simple head swap showing you that this head looks great as a full-blown knight or warrior as well as a mage. And here's a look at the blue cape on a gold knight body, which I think is amazing. I really love gold and blue like this. This is a pretty cool look. You could put whatever head you want on there, but this is a fantastic option for that cape. Since there aren't a lot of dark-skinned characters in Mythic Legions, I was hoping this head would be like a really good match on Calavius. They're a bit off, unfortunately. With the right lighting, you can make it look good, but the Calavius body has a lot more blacks and it's a lot shinier, and then the Zende head is a little lighter, a little brighter, and it's a little more flat finish. So not quite a great match, but with the right lighting, I think it would look fine. And finally, we've got those greenish blue armor parts from Demistros, contrasted with the reds and yellows from Zende, and I thought the orc head from the Lige figure kind of tied it all together perfectly. So this is a cool look. I really like how this came out. I like the contrast here with that combination. Anyway, that'll do it for my video. This figure is fantastic. I do highly recommend it. I think if you are into like always getting new parts and things, and like every figure having like a ton of brand new stuff, I mean, the cape is the newness here. The rest of the body is nothing special, really. It's the colors that matter and sort of the character with this one. But I do love this figure. I think it's excellent. Anyway, thanks for watching my video, and until next time, may the force be with you.